It was a rainy Thursday afternoon, and the sky had been weeping since morning. I stood by the small kitchen window, watching the droplets race down the glass like tears. My name is Sarah, and at the time, I was a 26-year-old woman trying to keep my fragile world from falling apart. After my father passed away a few months earlier, it was just Mom, my little brother Aaron, and me. We lived in a modest two-bedroom apartment on the edge of town, barely getting by since the funeral drained our savings. My mother took on long shifts as a hospital janitor while I worked as a part-time cashier and studied nursing at night. We weren't poor in love, but financially, we were sinking fast. Rent day had become the most stressful day of the month. Mr. Grayson, our landlord, was a tall, grumpy man in his late 50s with a voice as cold as a stare. He wasn't cruel exactly, but he had this way of making you feel like you owed him more than just money, like you owed him your peace of mind too. Normally, he'd just knock, take the envelope, grunt, and leave. But that evening, something was different. The knock on the door came around 7:30 p.m., sharp and loud. Mom had just come home, exhausted, her shoes soaked from walking through the rain. She quickly changed into dry clothes while I grabbed the envelope from the counter and headed to the door. When I opened it, there he stood, Mr. Grayson in his usual black coat, his salt and pepper hair dripping with rain, holding a manila folder instead of his usual clipboard. "Evening," he said. "May I come in for a moment?" That wasn't normal. He never asked to come in. I hesitated, but nodded politely and stepped aside. He walked in slowly, glancing around the apartment as if it had changed since the last time he saw it. My mom came out of her room and greeted him politely. "Good evening, Mr. Grayson. Is everything okay?" He looked at us both, then at the folder in his hand. "I need to talk to you about something important." We all sat in the living room, me, Mom, and Aaron, who had come out of his room curious about the unexpected visit. Mr. Grayson cleared his throat and said something that made my stomach twist. "This might sound odd," he began, "but I knew your father. A long time ago. Before you were born." My mom's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" He opened the folder and pulled out a photograph, an old one, faded with time. In it stood two men in their 20s. One of them was unmistakably my father. The other was Mr. Grayson. My mother gasped softly and brought her hand to her mouth. "We were best friends in college," he said, his voice softer than I'd ever heard. "But we lost touch. Life happened. I moved, got into real estate. He got married and built his life here. I never even knew he was in this town until years later. I only realized it after I saw him once, when I came to check the property. I didn't approach him. I should have, but I didn't." My mom looked stunned, unable to speak. I stared at the photo, wondering how my father never mentioned any of this. Mr. Grayson continued, his eyes on my brother now. "There's more," he said slowly. "When your father passed, I started digging into some of his old letters. Things he wrote but never sent. That's how I found out. I'm his half-brother. Your father and I shared the same mother, but she gave me up for adoption." I gasped. "You're our uncle?" He nodded, his face tense with a mix of guilt and sorrow. "I didn't know until recently, and I felt like I had to tell you. You deserve to know the truth. I didn't mean to hide anything. I just didn't know how to say it." Silence filled the room. Mom looked pale. I could see tears brimming in her eyes, the weight of everything hitting her all at once. "Why now?" I asked. "Why today?" He looked down at his hands. "Because I've been thinking a lot lately. About the family I missed out on. About your father and you. I've made mistakes. I thought maybe if I told you the truth, I could, I don't know, try to make up for some of it." My mom finally found her voice. "Why didn't you ever tell him? Or me?" "I was ashamed," he whispered. "I didn't want to complicate his life. I thought he had enough going on. Then when he passed, I felt like I missed my chance." We sat in stunned silence, all of us processing the shock. The rain outside tapped gently on the windows as if nature was mourning with us. Aaron leaned into Mom, his young mind trying to grasp the meaning of all this. Mr. Grayson finally stood. "I won't stay long. I just wanted you to know. Also about the rent. From now on, you don't need to worry. I'm transferring the property into your mother's name. It's what your father would have wanted. My mom blinked. What? I'm not doing this for charity. I'm doing this because you're family, he said simply. And family looks out for each other. That night, after he left, we sat around the kitchen table in silence. Then the questions started flowing.